Tafsir.
Where should I begin when I'm starting at the end? Pursuing the higher aim, learning the meaning of every page. Ooh, where should I begin when I'm starting at the end?
Another addition to your Islamic education, Maqasidic Tafsir, Healing and Governance, The Transformative Path of Saba as-Tiwal, written by Dr. Karim Abuzaid. Join Ustadah Laila Nasheeba every Tuesdays and Thursdays at 9:30 p.m., streaming all major platforms, channel Sunnahfollowers.
The book on Amazon, and that's a picture of Dr. Karim Abuzaid, so you know who you are taking your knowledge from. And tonight we're going to go over Surat An'am and A'raf, which are known as the two chapters of the Qur'an that serve as reminders of the chapters that came before it. So let's put the PowerPoint up and take a look at the quiz. Now, we talked about, we summarized Surat Baqarah. Let me move this out the way so we can move my little thing out the way. We summarized Surat al-Baqarah and al-Imran. And we also summarized, and Surat Baqarah and Al-Imran are known as the twins. We refer to those two chapters of the Quran as the two twins. And then we spoke about the two signs known as Surat An-Nisa and Ma'idah. Of these two categorized surahs or chapters of the Quran, which two help to establish a balanced society? Are they the signs, Surat An-Nisa and Ma'idah, or are they the twins, Surat al-Baqarah and Al-Imran? Who can give us the answer? Which of
Surah Nisa and Surah Ma'idah?
Okay, which do you guys agree with her? She said it's Surah Nisa and Ma'idah, that those two chapters of the Quran serve as help to establish a balanced society. Do you guys agree? Is there anyone who disagrees? Okay, can you tell us why do you say it's Nisa and Ma'idah?
Yes, I get mixed up sometimes, but I know Surah Nisa, Surah Ma'idah is about the laws and the rules and like establishing like with sales and stuff like that. And Surah Nisa is about morals and like the importance of taking care of the orphans, women's, the women, poor people, and stuff like that, the beggars.
Exactly, mashallah, exactly. As she said, these two chapters of the Quran, Surah Nisa and Surah Ma'idah, these are two chapters of the Quran that addresses morality. They address morality. They address how to handle ourselves when it comes to business and things like that. How to handle the rights of each other, business transactions, the rights of women, the rights of children, the rights of orphans. So those two chapters of the Quran, you know, if we abided by them, they would help to establish a more balanced society. Whereas what does Surat Baqarah and Ali Imran address basically? Can anybody remember? What do the twins address basically? Can anyone remember what do the twins address? Can anyone remember what the twins address?
If somebody else answers, I can.
Anyone else besides Zarina? Okay, go ahead, Zarina. What do the twins address?
Surah Baqarah is addressing our belief in Allah and faith, and Al Imran is how to strengthen that faith.
Exactly. Surat Baqarah and Ali Imran help to address our faith established in our belief system. That's why those two surahs of the Quran will intercede on behalf of you on the day of judgment. You know? So to help establish a balanced society based on justice and good morality, you know, this is where Surat An-Nisa and Ma'idah come in. Good job, Zarina. The rest of you have to pay attention in class. And I know many of you were not here last week. You need to make sure that you review last week's lectures. Okay? Let's look at the next question. Which of the following chapter of the Quran addresses moral decline? The decline of morals. Is it Surat An-Nisa? Is it Surat Baqarah? Or Surat Ma'idah? Which of those three chapters of the Quran addresses the decline of morality? How many of you read the Quran? We read the Quran every day. We read the Quran on a regular basis. Which one of those chapters of the Quran addresses the decline of morality? An-Nisa, Baqarah, or Ma'idah? What do you guys think? Sister Pamela said Baqarah. Layla said Baqarah. Anybody has a different answer?
I was thinking, I always mix the two. I remember them in pairs. Either An-Nisa or Ma'idah.
Okay, which one?
Mixed up. Oh my goodness, subhanAllah. I was thinking An-Nisa.
Again, the correct answer is An-Nisa. Again, An-Nisa addresses morality, the decline of morals, women's justice, rights, how we are unjust to women. That's the chapter that gave women rights. I want you guys to read Surat An-Nisa. Most of you are women here. You don't understand the importance of Surat An-Nisa? MashaAllah, that's one of the most important chapters of the Quran because it addresses, it gives rights, moral rights to not just women, but to children, animals, everything. Subhanallah. I want y'all to do the homework and read Surat An-Nisa. That should be one of y'all's favorite chapters of the Quran. Okay, good job, Zarina. What about this? Which chapter defines our nation's identity? Which of the following two chapters define our nation's identity? What our identity should be as a Muslim ummah? Is it Surat Baqarah and Ali Imran? Or is it Surat An-Nisa and Ma'idah? Come on, guys, y'all should know this one. Which two surahs? Is it the twins? Surat Al-Baqarah and Ali Imran. Do they define what our identity should be as Muslims? Or is it Surat An-Nisa and Ma'idah? that define what our Muslim identity should be? Is it the signs, Anisa and Maida, or is it the twins, Baqarah and Ali Imran? What do y'all think? Anybody in Zoom? What do you think in Zoom? Go ahead, Zarina. This is easy. Which one of these two chapters of the Quran define what your identity and my identity should be as a Muslim?
Since we're talking about morals and our character, I was going to say Anisa and Maida, but I was thinking wala and our allegiance and our faith in Allah. I was thinking of Baqarah and Al Imran.
So which one should it be? Which one? Our identity.
I'm going to say Nisa and Maida because it's our morals and our character.
Is this moral? Our identity.
And how we stand out in society.
Okay, the correct answer is Baqarah. I didn't ask about our morality. Our identity as Muslims. That's our belief. Your identity is your belief system. That's Al-Baqarah. Remember, Al-Baqarah and Ali Imran. This is about your faith. This is what we believe in. This is our purpose in life. Your Muslim identity, that refers to your purpose, what you stand for, what you are all about, your belief system. You want to know what are you all about? Al-Baqarah. That's the belief. Ali Imran, how to keep that belief strong, how to maintain your identity despite the hardships of life. You want to know how to keep your faith, how to maintain your faith and your belief system when times get hard. That's what you read Ali Imran for. SubhanAllah, you guys are going to have to review all the classes I taught last week on these topics. You guys have forgotten. My goodness. Okay, so that's summarized, which none of you got it right except for Sister Zarina. Alhamdulillah, Zarina, good job. Surat Baqarah, Ali Imran, okay, the twins, and then the signs, which are, okay, I'm seeing what's going on here. Yes. Exactly. And by the way, they're all in the playlist. You need to go to the playlist that I have for this class. It's called the Maqasidic Tafsir Volume 3 playlist. And just play the playlist and get caught up. Because those are the first 4 that we went over of the 7 most lengthy chapters. Now I'm getting ready to go to the next 2. Which is An'am and A'raf. Okay? Yes, and just go to my YouTube channel, click on playlist, and then look for the playlist that says Maqasidic Tafsir Volume 3 and get caught up. You guys should have known that. Yes, that's really sad. None of you didn't get it right except for Zarina. Good job, Zarina. Okay, so these 2 chapters of the Quran, Surat An'am and A'raf, they're known as the reminders. They stand as reliable reminders. They highlight the importance of Tawheed. They carry a stern admonition for those of this nation who fail to take in the guidance that's offered in Surat Baqarah and Ali Imran. They serve as a stern admonition to those Muslims who fail to act upon the morals given to us in Surat Nisa and Al-Ma'idah. Remember, Al-Ma'idah talks about the food, you know, what's lawful for us to eat. Surah Ma'idah speaks about, you know, how we slaughter, the rules of slaughter and stuff. For those of us who fail to abide by that, okay? For those of us who fail to have the morals that Allah emphasizes, for those of us who fail to be just in how we treat women, children, the orphans, the needy in Surat Nisa. Okay, for those of us who fail to believe in Allah and to worship Him alone, as Allah stresses in Baqarah. For those of us who fail to believe in the last day. For those of us who fail to believe in paradise and in the hellfire. For those of us who fail to believe in the laws and rules of Allah that He gives to us in Al-Imran. Okay? These two chapters, Al-An'am and Al-A'raf, they carry admonition for those who fail to listen. And the reminders call to the community. They call out to us to re-examine what our principles are supposed to be, particularly in the face of failure to implement Allah's laws. In other words, these two chapters of the Quran tell you to think about the consequences. Remember, for every choice we make in this world, there will be consequences. Whenever we are unjust to ourselves or unjust to others, there will be consequences. And that's what these two chapters, the reminders, Al-An'am and Al-A'raf, call to. And for those of us who have found success from the previous 4 chapters, these chapters reinforce the need to attribute this achievement to our commitment of belief in Allah. And it further encourages us to stay away from associating partners with Allah. So let's look at Surat Al-An'am. Surat Al-An'am. This surah was revealed during the Prophet's time in Mecca, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the words or the verses in this chapter call upon the Meccans to think about their faith. Remember, just because you say you believe in me is not enough. Allah says, think about it. I'm going to test you. I'm going to test you with everything that you think is dear to you. Okay? Tawheed. That's belief in the oneness of Allah. This was a quality that Mecca was built on when it was first settled by Prophet Abraham and his wife Hajar and their son Ismail. However, the cultural traditions and the superstitions and the shirk that the Arabs engaged in ended up replacing the belief system that Abraham had brought there. And the people ended up deviating away from Tawheed. The Arabs believed that Allah was the creator of man. They believed that Allah was the creator of the universe, but they did not believe that Allah was the only entity worthy of worship. Okay? So this chapter examines societal superstitions and incorrect practices that's surrounding Allah, okay? And it guides believers towards a more precise understanding and practice of Allah. And this chapter serves as a checkpoint, urging the people to access their devotion to Allah and to correct any deviations. And this is something that we need to do today as Muslims. We all claim to believe in Allah, but look how many of us are still superstitious. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said every nation of people has their fire worshipers. The fire worshipers of this nation are those who claim to be Muslim, but they do not accept the decree of Allah. Look how many of you Muslims still do not understand that there is no power, there is no might other than Allah. You say you believe in Allah, but you do not believe that Allah is the one that sent the war, that Allah is in control of the earth. If all mankind were to come together to stop the war that's going on, they wouldn't be able to lift a finger unless Allah willed it. Okay? So this chapter of the Quran again serves as an essential checkpoint for you to check yourself. Do you really believe La ilaha illallah? Well, if you do, why is it that you don't understand that the power and the might is in the hands of Allah, not in the hands of America, not in the hands of Israel, not in the hands of any Muslim country? If all the Muslim countries in the world wanted to stop this war, they wouldn't be able to stop it unless Allah allowed it to stop. So that's the beauty of Surat An'am. Okay? The teachings of An'am are pivotal in redirecting all of us back to monotheism, back to La ilaha illallah, back to articulating that true success in this world and in the hereafter hinges on an undivided submission to Allah. Does everybody listening to me understand that? Most Muslims do not. So I want y'all to read that chapter tonight or tomorrow. Read An'am. It's going to cause you to think about your faith like it did those companions. Those companions were in Mecca being persecuted. Nobody suffered more than them, not even the people in Gaza today. Nobody on this planet Earth today has suffered more than the prophet and those companions did. They went through the same thing and worse in Mecca. But that verse was, that surah was sent down for them to ponder their faith. Do you think that just because you say you believe in me, that that's enough? That I'm not going to test you? That I'm not going to test you with war? That I'm not going to test you with the loss of your life? That I'm not going to test you with trials? That I'm not going to test you with calamity? Okay? Read that surah and ponder it like the companions did. And then we have A'raf. That's the reminding surah that comes after it. A'raf continues the narrative of self-reflection and correction that's initiated by An'am. It too focuses on the nation's moral and spiritual integrity. This chapter of the Qur'an lays bare the eternal struggle between belief and disbelief, obedience and defiance, through recounting the tales of past people, past civilizations, past communities, and their prophets. So you see that you ain't the only one that's been tested. You ain't the only one that's been put to the test. This chapter of the Quran vividly illustrates the consequences of indecision and neglect of faith. This chapter serves as a reminder of the fine line that separates true success in the sight of Allah from failure. And for us as a nation, Al-A'raf emphasizes that being vigilant in the face of Tawheed extends beyond just recognizing Allah's sovereignty, but it also entails an active rejection, which is al-bara, an active rejection of all forms of shirk and ethical decay, which is something that we don't do today. We don't distance ourselves from all forms of shirk. We don't distance ourselves from that which is unethical. Subhanallah. So, what's the significance of these two chapters known as the reminders? Well, An'am and A'raf together, they are vital interventions for individuals who may have drifted or achieved only partial success in absorbing the message of Tawheed from Surat Baqarah or Ali Imran, or the message of morality and justice from Anisa and Maida. These two chapters, they will bring us back under the umbrella of faith and help us spiritually to grow and address any divergence that we have and put us back on track. And for those who have effectively developed spiritually, these chapters serve as a reminder to us of our triumphs, and they serve as encouragement for us to continue to maintain that connection with Allah, to continue to maintain that strong iman, that strong sense of humility and appreciation for Allah. And these two chapters highlight that our spiritual journey is not meant to be easy. As Allah told those original companions when he sent these chapters down as they were going through their hardships, your spiritual journey is not meant to be easy. It's meant to be filled with trials, to see if you will remain mindful and vigilant despite the shirk and the ethical erosion that's around us. These two chapters, they signal to us that we have to maintain the faith. Don't just say we have it, but show it through our actions. Show it through the choices we make in life. Fall back upon that faith when times get hard. And if we fall back upon that faith, An'am and A'raf will become guiding lights for us. Those 2 chapters of the Quran will help to lead us back to Allah. Those who have deviated away from the straight path, it'll help to lead them back to the straight path. And they will again help strengthen that connection with Allah. So that's why they're called the 2 reminders.